Hi, this is Brendan Davis from Bedrock Games and the Bedrock blog, and I'm here with Lady Chow Fung and Adam Balderstone, and we are talking about Cobra Kai, episodes 6 through 10. We talked about the first 5 episodes last week, and we are continuing to the finale today. So, before we get into the show itself, what were you guys' initial impressions of the end of the season?
I'm kind of shocked at the way it ended. I was kind of creeped out in it. Kreese showing up just was shocking to me at the end. Smoking a cigar, it was just like all cool and, trench coat on and mysterious. And I'm thinking, I even messaged you and was like, is Johnny hallucinating or something?
I do want to talk about
he's
an
alcoholic.
I was thinking that's a really interesting theory. Like, and I know we want to get to Adam's reaction, but I like your idea. What if next season it's sort of like a bizarre, what was that movie, Cloak and Dagger, where he had the imaginary friend? What if Kreese is like his imaginary friend now? What if Kreese is really dead and he's just hallucinating him?
He says Dabney Coleman.
Well, because it kind of remind you of the Dabney Coleman character, for like the way that he's sort of out of genre. Do you know what I mean?
Just the way he comes in as like a dark silhouette at first, and everything was very odd. But yeah, I got to admit, I was spoiled like 10 minutes before I watched the episode, where a headline came up about how that actor's going to be back next season. I'm like, wait, he's in it? Oh,
I had a similar thing. I made a mistake of watching an interview with him, and he mentioned it, and so I didn't get the full reaction that you got, Lady Chow Fung. I was kind of prepared,
Yeah, headline spoilers are the worst.
I was completely oblivious. I got no headlines. I purposely didn't watch anything about what anybody said about the season. I just wanted to go in fresh and have my own opinion about everything and not be ready for something to happen. And I was totally shocked.
I think it was definitely surprising. And it looks like I said, like that's where they're sort of, I think every season, maybe that's how they're going to kick in the next season. Do you know what I mean? They're going to have, like, you could do that almost indefinitely with characters from the Karate Kid. Just have people show up and, but I don't know. I mean, we got to talk about well, first off, Adam, what was your thoughts on the season before we get into the?
I liked it on the whole. Yeah, I feel like it felt like Miguel took kind of an abrupt turn in the last couple of episodes. It felt that kind of seemed to come a little bit out of nowhere, but it was interesting. I thought it all can't, the way they resolved the final fight and everything was dramatically satisfying. If not the most heroic ending, but it was interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of the show.
Yeah, I quite liked the first season. I thought it was a really solid season. I agree with you though that the stuff with Miguel felt abrupt, and I think that might have just been a product of we got 2 episodes and we need to get to the finale. And
yeah, it's like for having 10 episodes to work with, though, it's like you could have managed this arc just a little better at the end. But
I didn't find it abrupt at all.
Uh-huh.
Okay, go tell us why. Tell us why.
I didn't find it abrupt because I don't know. I guess I kind of saw where it was going, and because I thought that the show needed another Johnny type character, and they were kind of hinting when they were telling about the love triangle between Allie and Daniel and Johnny. I knew something was going to happen. Somehow they were going to introduce somebody else, and I didn't realize it was going to be Johnny's son. But I just kind of felt that he was changing through the season, because at the beginning, when he took the lessons, I don't think he would have allowed his friends to be picked on by the sensei if they had left him the same. But he kept accepting what Johnny was saying, but he was trying to temper it. But then when you bring alcohol into the situation and the new guy that he saw her with and everything, it kind of, for me, was the perfect arc on everything. For me.
Yeah, I can buy that. It's not like I thought it was terrible. I just kind of felt like
it was rushed,
just a little more,
maybe.
Just a little rushed. It made sense him going that direction, but it just, like I said, it just felt rushed. But
so I saw the end of the season twice, and my first time seeing it, I thought it was rushed, and the second time, because I was expecting it, it wasn't as jarring to me. But I don't know. I feel like it feels like they did it within the last, I don't know, the last 2 or 3 episodes, I would say, is where you see him turn, really. And it...
Yeah, it's really just the last 2, to be honest.
You think it's the last 2? Yeah. Yeah, because I guess the what would that be? Episode 7 was kind of, or no, episode 8 was where they kind of plant the seed of the thing that becomes.
That's where you see him going to the house and seeing them eating, and him drawing conclusions based on watching them eating dinner. But that's.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm done. I'm sorry.
How do you guys feel about? I mean, he's clearly going more in the. I don't know if they're going to go full villain with him, because we really just because it's the only those 2 episodes. I'm not sure what to expect next season. It could be Cobra Kai is fully Cobra Kai next season, and they're all kind of the bad guys, or it could be more of what this first season was like, which was there really wasn't a clear bad guy or good guy right away. Everything was kind of more complicated. But how do you guys feel about him as a bad guy?
It's going to be interesting, because I mean, it does seem like Johnny was having some second thoughts, like during that final scene. He seemed, he's kind of pulling back on his message in that scene. So will that stick? Because it's going to be interesting if Johnny softens next season and Miguel keeps going with the true spirit of Cobra Kai. But then, of course, we got the whole Kreese thing on top of that too. So.
Well, also, you did see I'm wondering if that might make sense, because at the end of this season, Daniel kind of suggests that, well, when the fight comes to you, you can kind of go all in. Do you know what I mean? Like I could see Danny going down a dark road next season, as Johnny is sort of going down you know what I mean? Kind of trying to rein back Cobra Kai. It could be like a pendulum swing between the 2 sides. Or, it could be sort of, as Kreese suggested, just the beginning, and now we're gonna have like a proper sort of Karate Kid style storyline for second season. I don't know. I really like the possibility of that being a hallucination, because I feel like with Johnny having second thoughts, Kreese showing up at the time he did, it would make sense that it's sort of like this dark part of his personality trying to continue with the success, because what he did worked. You know what I mean? It was successful. Mm-hmm. It's just that there was a cost to it for him. There was a personal cost, and also you get the impression that Johnny was he was using this, it seemed, to help those kids get over what was ever holding them back. Do you know what I mean? Like he was giving them some dark fuel so that they could kind of punch back a little bit and be successful. And now the fuel is sort of out of control. And
well, it's really out of control with Hawk, because Hawk started the fuel, escalating the fuel or the fire, and Daniel just made it explode even more, because he was just so angry with what's the son's name?
I think it's Robbie.
Robbie, that's it. Because he thinks there's something going on between Robbie and Sam. The daughter's name? Sam.
Sam is her name.
Yeah, so, but I liked how at the end, I liked, what was Aisha? She said that we need more girls out there.
Yeah.
And that got Sam thinking, and she went back into the dojo and started working out again. And I liked pulling her back into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she's kind of a wild card at the moment.
Right. You don't know if she's going to be Cobra Kai? She's going to go with her dad, or is she going to go and do her own thing? And I liked him going back to Miyagi's house at the very end. It was like, oh, I'm crying again.
Yeah, that was emotional.
Yeah, it was nice the idea that Daniel like has bought that property. Just kind of kept it as a this whole time.
But I don't know. I feel like Hawk wasn't the only one. I mean, I think Hawk is the most complete transformation that we see visually and emotionally. Like he goes from being, what was his name, Eli, and to Hawk. So let's talk about that a little bit, because what happens in the second half of the season is Johnny starts getting new students, and he's really laying into them, like, you know, like, oh, you're a loser, like, oh, you have bad teeth, you shouldn't smile, and what was it he said to one of them? I feel like a virgin just looking at you. Like he said, like he was saying really, really horrible things to these kids, and he starts making fun of Eli's. He has like, what do you call it?
Cleft lip.
Cleft lip. Yeah, cleft lip. He has the and so he starts making fun of him, and he's like, you know, you should get surgery or something, kid. And he's like, oh no, this is like I've had the surgery. He's like, if that's what it looks like after the surgery, you should sue. And he's just like going on, and the kid has never had to encounter this before, so it's like, you know, you can see like the thing that Johnny's kind of doing is he's sort of puncturing this bubble that they're in, and a lot of the kids end up quitting, and you think that Eli quits because he runs out of the dojo and it looks like he's basically running away crying. But before he ran away, Johnny had said something to him about how you have to flip the script. You have to look badass. Like, just, you know, you have to take whatever, you know, like if you got a bad lip like that, gouge out your eye and like really scare people. And so Hawk comes back like later in the episode or in the next episode, and he's got like a mohawk, and he's got like a tattoo on his back, and he's like, you know, he's fully committed to this transformation that Johnny's trying to get him to go down. And I don't know, I mean, you know, every character sort of does that. Miguel transforms, but it's more of an emotional transformation, and Aisha transforms too, but it's also more of like an emotional and like a temperamental transformation. But they all sort of are buying into the Cobra Kai philosophy. But yeah, I don't know. Any thoughts on Hawk and the transformations?
Yeah, I mean, like you say, Hawk was definitely the most dramatic of all of them. It's it was, and I don't know. I agree with Lady Chow Fung that I think he was the one that was driving a lot of it from within the kids. I feel like he was the one that was most aggressively kind of pushing them to behave in a certain way.
Well, he bought the liquor, and he did all that, right? Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I like the transformation for Aisha, because, you know, she did have to stand up for themselves, and I like that they're able to stand up for themselves. Yeah. But my problem is when the bullied becomes the bully, because that's what happened to Johnny. It's just repeating itself in a different cycle. His stepfather bullied him, so he was bullied by Kreese, then he bullied other kids, and now he's kind of getting this revelation or redemption where he realizes he really doesn't have to do that. He can say it in not necessarily a kinder way. You can be firm without being a bully with them to change their attitudes. But I think also that they needed to have their bubbles pop in order to make that transformation.
Yeah, because he kind of showed them, you guys have power. Like, that's what he was really showing them. You guys can be powerful. You just, like, and you see it. Like a lot of the kids that are making fun of them are not physically intimidating. Do you know what I mean? And, like, it's you know, and so, you know, like Aisha, the move that she pulls on, what's her name, Yasmin, at the party, she gives her like that was a pretty horrific wedgie. She could have done that at any point in the show. You know what I mean? She didn't need to learn karate to do that. But like she didn't have the aggression. She didn't have the realization that she could do it.
She didn't have the confidence in herself.
Yeah, she didn't. It wasn't, and maybe not the temperament too. And so he's given them a little bit of that temperament. But it's like you say, it's getting over the. It's now they're like injuring people and fighting dirty, just like. And what's funny is this whole second half of the show. It all starts where he wants to get them in the tournament, and Cobra Kai is a lifetime ban from the tournament, and he has to go. I forget what it is, but there's some kind of committee that he has to go to that oversees the All Valley Karate tournament, and he goes there, and Daniel LaRusso is a member of the committee, and and the way that he gets the lifetime ban removed is he says, no, Cobra Kai isn't the same anymore. I've seen these kids grow, I've seen them become better people, and he gives like a really compelling speech. But then when they end up going to the tournament, the kids are like, dislocating guys' shoulders, and I think at one point Robbie tries to extend his hand so that Miguel can get up, and Miguel pulls on the injured arm, and Johnny is even like, hey, we don't have to go there to win, just fight. Like, that's not, we want like a clean victory. And, we need to do dirty tricks. And Miguel's like, well, what's dirty about winning? Like, and so.
Yeah.
But his transformation was complete at that moment, when that was definitely an old high school Johnny line he would have used.
But the thing is, even Johnny, I think, wouldn't have disobeyed Kreese if Kreese said, don't fight dirty. Do you know what I mean? Like, if Kreese told him, don't, do you know what I mean? Like, I think Johnny was still an obedient student.
I think too, that goes back to the comment about Hawk having driven a lot of this too, that he's kind of pushing out in these crazy directions. It's like it's not like they're just going out on this aggressive thing within the range of being Cobra Kai and following Johnny. They've kind of become this chaotic force of their own that Johnny doesn't have control over anymore. He's kind of created this thing that's bigger than him now.
It'll definitely be interesting to see where it goes. Like, I'm very curious, because they could go in so many different directions with it. And I almost kind of want them to go in a direction I'm not hoping they go. One of the things that I liked about this show was it didn't do things that I was hoping it would do. It kind of went in slightly different directions. And it was I don't know, I thought it was like a refreshing show. It just kind of it had like a little bit of like a Bad Santa element to it. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That worked. Not quite as extreme as Bad Santa, but I mean, like, you can, there were a number of drunk driving scenes. He gives Miguel his first drink of alcohol, and it's totally like not like, it's not even made a big deal of, but like that's, I think, an important moment, because they both sort of have victories where Johnny goes in and he wins his case at the committee, and Miguel gets his not a date with Samantha, and they both are sort of jubilant at the dojo. So Johnny decides to give him a drink of alcohol, and I don't know, what is Miguel, like 15 or 16? Like, he's not that old, right? Mm-hmm. So and then pretty soon after, we have that party where Miguel is drinking too much and really kind of misbehaves. So he's just pounding those drinks down. But I have to say, there's one false note that seemed weird to me. Is like, as soon as Sam shows up when Miguel is drunk, she's like, "You've been drinking," and it's like, she's been hanging out with these spoiled, rich, just corrupt kids who are like, who brag about their low calorie weed and stuff. So it's just like, I just didn't buy the fact that, being upset about the way he's acting is fine, but being like, oh, are you drunk? Was just, that felt wrong. But maybe it's because it was Miguel. Maybe she didn't want Miguel being that way. Do you know what I mean?
It could
be. She didn't think of him as the bad boy, drink and over the top kind of behavior kind of person. I think she thought of him as more rational and mature.
He did take her to play. He did take her to play mini golf, so that's kind of she does have kind of a safe image of him.
And one of the cool kids defected, right? Moon ended up with Hawk and told Yasmin to apologize.
to Aisha.
Did she? I thought she said apologize to all of them for how she treated them or something. But
I heard Aisha, but I don't know. Maybe
I know Aisha was the hand of justice in either way. She was the one who delivered the the punishment. But
yeah, I think it may have been somewhat ambiguous. I think she apologized for what we did was what she said. So
now there was also the whole thing with what's the cousin's name? What's Daniel's cousin's name from New Jersey? I keep forgetting his Louis.
Oh.
Is that his name?
Louis, yes, Louis.
So there was a lot of tension between Danny's mom and Amanda. His wife's name's Amanda, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was tension between her because Amanda doesn't do home cooked meals that much, and Danny's mom is like, she's an Italian lady from New Jersey and is really into, home cooked meals, and so there was some conflict there, and then we kind of learned that Louis was basically hired because of Danny's mom, it was like and so in light of that, maybe some of Louis's behavior makes sense. Because I don't see Daniel hiring somebody who's going to do what he does in this episode, which is he gets some bikers and he goes and he smashes Johnny's car, and this leads Johnny to have a confrontation with Daniel. But I don't know. That was what did you think of the car smashing scene number one? That was sort of a little bit out of the blue, maybe. We got a hint of it because he said, "Oh, Louis said he couldn't be here tonight for dinner," and it looked like everything was falling into place.
With that.
Yeah,
I knew something was coming with that, especially since he's always there for dinner, and he had already suggested that they needed to either take the car back or do something to the car since it was already paid for. That they fixed it for free, so they need to do something to rectify the situation. But I saw that coming. That was kind of like, I don't know, typical New Jersey mafia kind of thing.
Yeah, it was very out of The Sopranos. It was I figured he was a character who was all bark and no bite, like that, like because he kind of would say things like that, but I didn't think we were ever going to see him set a car on fire.
Well, he kind of was. I don't think he wanted the car set on fire. He kind of was like, when they were at the scene, he's like, "Whoa, guys, this is kind of getting out of hand."
Yeah, that's true. But he brought the bikers there, and he was smashing the windows.
Yeah. Like I said, he was willing to go a little bit, but things went way beyond what he anticipated. But yeah, it's kind of funny how he just disappeared from the show at that point. It's like, boom.
I'm sure we're going to get a resolution at the beginning of next season, one way or the other. Even if it's just remember
his dark return.
Remember when the mom is on the phone and she's taking? I think it was actually Uncle Louis that she was taking care of. So he must be Uncle Louis's son, right? Wasn't it Uncle Louis?
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
I'll bet you it's his son. So, maybe we'll get something like that where he phones it in. I'm hoping we get like a Joe Pesci appearance that we do some kind of My Cousin Vinny crossover. But
no, he's gonna having been cast out of the LaRusso family now he's gonna join with the Cobra Kai. That's my prediction for next season.
That actually is totally plausible too, because he'd fit right in. His life would be much easier for him if he joined Cobra Kai. But then we have that confrontation with Johnny and Daniel, and Johnny shows up and they're ready to fight, and then the wife totally smooths it over.
I could eat.
That was so funny. I don't think that I would do that. Invite the enemy into my house to eat.
His wife is
just
smart.
Beat him up then.
His wife is really smart. Like she's always got like the right moves to sort of undo whatever damage he's about to do. But yeah, so they have breakfast. We learned that Antonio is like even more of a despicable child than I think he's like the real villain of the show, to be honest, Antonio. But
I said during the last podcast, he is just the one character that's had no redeeming character at all through the whole.
You were
totally
very
agree.
right. You were very right. Like he is just. There's nothing good about this kid. Like,
He's slime ball.
Well, you know what really did it for me when he bought the when he used Alexa to buy whatever his dad took away from him, some kind of PS device. And he bought a new. I was like, oh, that kid. That's like extremely disrespectful.
And he bought a drone.
Yeah, he bought
and no
a
one
drone.
knew about it.
How are they still giving him access to the credit card on the like?
I don't know. I think it's incomprehensible to me.
The Russos have some parenting issues of their own, I think. But anyways, he and Johnny end up in a bar together eventually, and they kind of have like an interesting moment where they're talking about history, and we learn more about Johnny's past. In the beginning of the season we learned this, but Johnny really goes in and explains like kind of how crappy his life was, and Danny is surprised because he's always thought of Johnny as somebody who just was living the high life, and so I don't know. I thought that was probably one of the better scenes in this section of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I enjoyed their bonding scene. It was funny how Danny started off with a seltzer water, and then by the end he's ordering his martinis, neat, very cold. It's just he starts out with one, and then it's like two.
Well, and I like how Johnny is kind of belittling him the whole way. So he calls him Danielle from in the car, and then when they get there, he says, "I'll have a beer and a Shirley Temple for the lady," and he's just like constantly peppering him with these insults, and but yeah, eventually they kind of seem to have like an understanding. But again, they're drinking an awful lot at that bar before they're about to go drive.
Every time they reach some level of extra, reconciliation, it would be Daniel. That was what Daniel's cue to be like, and one more round.
Yeah.
So the way the scheme was working.
Yeah. So, So I'm sorry, you were saying something.
It was just that they were kind of seeing each other for the first time on a level playing field, like they could see each other and the other person, and they were about to maybe not become friends, but definitely call a truce. But then something else happens. It's just like when they're on the verge of making a great breakthrough, someone else, mostly in the LaRusso family, messes up the situation and causes them to be warring again.
And Johnny's got his... I didn't realize Johnny's loathing of Daniel extended to the whole LaRusso family. It really becomes like a clan thing at the end. Like it's like he tells Miguel not to trust the LaRussos, and when he confronts Daniel, he's talking, he's sort of, the LaRussos can't be trusted. There's no, so I was struggling to remember if Johnny even had any interaction with other LaRussos in the films, because
I don't think so.
Yeah, so
no.
So maybe he's just imagining this is what,
Yeah. No, it's just, him taking an easy step there. But yeah, in the films there was none. But it's easy to see how he got it during this season, though, picking up on it. I mean, we had a LaRusso destroy his... Well, no, she was there when his car was destroyed in the first one.
I guess that must have been once he put two and two together, must have just realized, these LaRussos are just no good. Up and down, but
well, I like how
Antonio didn't help.
Yeah, Antonio definitely didn't help. I liked how he's telling Miguel the story of why he doesn't like Danny and how he swooped in and took Allie, and he's totally twisted the whole situation. He doesn't even tell it truthfully, but we're getting the actual truthful story right in front of our eyes. I like the way they did that.
Yeah, because they're taking bits. Well, you know what it looked like? It looked like that there was a YouTube video that was like Johnny is the real good guy or Danny is the real villain. I can't remember what it was. Yeah. And it's basically the case that guy made for why Johnny is the hero. And like right down to the sucker punch. And and the whole thing where it's like, and I like, and like months went by, and then all out of nowhere he just sprays me with water, and it was. But I'm sorry, what'd you say, Adam?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. There was like I think your thing broke up there a little bit. But there was also the scene where during the meeting when they were asking him about Cobra Kai, there was kind of a nod to 3 where they said, what can you tell us about Mr. Terry Silva? And he's like, ma'am, yes. I don't even know who that guy is.
Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. Yeah, Terry Silver. He's gonna show up in the last 10 seconds of season 2. No. That's when Terry Silver is gonna
I heard a fan theory. So there's a fan theory that he is the father of Miguel, because all we know about Miguel's father is that he wasn't a good man. And so
that's Terry Silver.
Yeah, we not just that he was a bad man, but that he had a bad job. Like his job was somehow, and that like he deals in he just what was it, nuclear waste or some kind of toxic waste he was putting in places it doesn't belong.
Yeah. No, that would be an interesting twist there.
But yeah, so I don't know. We've been going on for a little while. What's everybody's sort of final thoughts on the season, and like, does it live up to the hype? Is it do you have complaints? Do you think it's a solid show?
I think it's a solid show. I can't wait for season 2 to start up again. That's the thing with binge watching. You watch everything all at once and then you're kind of let down. So now I kind of want to go back and rewatch the series. I love everything about the show. I love the music. I love the characters. I like the sentimental touches that they put in. I like the way that you can't really guess what's going to happen next. I kind of like this mirroring of what happened in the movies with what's happening now at the present time. And it's just really well put together. It's well written. It's well acted. And it's a great story so far.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the show. It's it's definitely, I think probably a show where your level of investment in the original Karate Kid series is going to play a part. I don't know. I can't say how well the show works if you've never seen them, or if you saw them as an adult and they didn't mean that much to you. But if you saw them as a kid, it's definitely a show to check out, and it's a lot better than I expected it to be when I first heard about this project.
Yeah, my expectations were at about the level of Sweep the Leg, Johnny, that music video that came out. And this really exceeded what I was thinking was going to be. And I like how it's like just rough around the edges enough to work. Like it doesn't go so far that it like, turns me off, but it's like it's just rough that it like feels like they're not making things too sweet or something. And I think it's all kind of working, and I really enjoy watching. I don't know, just the Johnny's training methods, or we didn't really get into them, but terribly dangerous training methods.
Oh yes, they border on child abuse.
Yeah, the junkyard scene. Dogs. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. The moment when he realizes none of the kids have been hit in the face, and he's got a room full of flinchers, and every kid's going to get hit in the face before they go. Again, I think it's a nice show, and it's also, I'm really interested to see where it's going to go. Like hopefully it won't do what a lot of shows do, which is, eventually, you can only take the concepts so far. But I think there's a lot of room for them to maneuver, and I think because they're on a channel where they're sort of the big show right now, so I think they probably I think they can kind of do whatever they want. So we'll see what happens. But
I think they're going to Okinawa next season. That's what they're going to do.
I think they need to follow our order and do Okinawa last.
Is that season 3?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that was a big issue with three. Three had all kinds of issues, but I really would like to see Terry Silver again. I think he would.
At this point, I feel like he would work in the show now.
Well,
Actually,
well,
yeah.
also he was a good character. He was just in a bad Karate Kid movie. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
really the problem. Like he would have been great if the rest of the movie was fine. The problem was the rest of them. Like a lot of times, when you first see that movie, you think the thing wrong with it is him. Do you know what I mean? Because he raises everything to this like incredible level. But really, if you take him out, there's nothing that's that enjoyable about the movie.
No,
Um,
I actually liked the character. I mean, he is one of the best things about a bad movie,
yeah.
definitely.
We could probably do without the Karate Bad Boy, but I think we could,
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
get Terry Silver again. And I do really want to see what they do with Kreese. When Dion said the thing about is he hallucinating, that really seemed like a probable thing to me. Um, you know,
It
it,
could be. It could be.
It could be. I mean, another thought that I had was that he was just saying that because he did twist the truth a little bit when he was before the committee. So maybe he was just lying and saying that Kreese is dead or was dead to him is what he meant or whatever.
I was
But that
well in part 3 that is what happened. Terry Silva says Kreese died, and it's all part of an elaborate long-term ruse for Daniel. So, I mean, I hope they don't do this, but what they could be doing is Johnny could have been in the know the whole time, and and was just paving the way for Kreese's return. But I think that would undercut so much of what they achieved over the season. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why Johnny would be in the know though, because I mean, he's kind of out of Cobra Kai from the beginning of the second
It
movie.
wouldn't it
So
wouldn't really make sense, but
no,
because he's the one who says Kreese died, and that was like a plot point in 3, it made me think, what if this is like a revisiting of that thought? Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, no, I see where
Because
you're going.
like what I mean, the other possibility is the rumor that Terry Silver started eventually reached Johnny, and that's why
Well,
he thought
that's
he was
what
dead.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
It's like he could have heard it that way. I mean, putting out the word.
And also, Kreese was, if you don't hear from Kreese for a while, you might assume that he's dead. Um, you know,
Yeah, he's definitely one of those larger than life characters that looms over everything. And I think everybody was kind of expecting that he had to fit in here somewhere
yeah.
because he was so instrumental in the movies. Even if he wasn't in the movie, he still kind of looms. That's how big the character was. So
And I do want to point one thing out that I think the show might not be aware of, but like just because it's called Cobra Kai, that doesn't mean that Kreese can just show up and take ownership of the play. Do you know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
shows up and it's like,
Well,
oh, go
that,
ahead.
that brings up the fact too that when they had the whole being banned thing, I mean, wouldn't it be as simple as just saying, "Hey, we're not that. We have that name. We're called Cobra Kai, but we are not that." Because it's not the same business.
I think
They
that's
just
essentially what he did.
okay. Yeah, I maybe I missed that, but I mean,
I,
it's like yeah, there you can't just because a company has the same company as another company that existed like 30 years ago, you can't go, oh, sorry, you're responsible for everything that other company did.
and he ended up like eventually, like I think Daniel was obviously dead set against them, and that one other guy was
Yeah.
was in agreement with Daniel out of loyalty, but everybody else seemed to be persuaded. And that one guy was really enthused about the Cobra Kai name. The guy that was obsessed with the blue and gold mat. And I love how when they came in, that was the big thing. They were talking about the mats, and it was like
Yeah.
super controversial shifting to blue and gold. And
Yeah.
so, but yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. I'm hopeful, but I also have had enough of these shows that end up, you hit it out of the park the first season. That's a tough act to follow. So
Yeah, that is my one wary thing. It's like there's part of me that almost wishes this had been kind of a one-off show, and they could have just brought this to a satisfying end, because it's the longer this goes, the more difficult a tightrope it becomes to walk. I mean, I thought it worked well this season, but another season of Daniel and Johnny continually having this rivalry thing could they could run out of gas on it. So it's not a sure thing, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, and that's why.
Well,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was thinking that maybe the rivalry between Danny and Johnny gets solved, but then you have the Miguel and the Robbie situation that needs to be unfurled, and you never know what's going to happen with the girls.
Yeah, no, you're right. There's a lot of different directions it can go other than keeping that at the center of the show. So, and hopefully that'll be what they do. And we'll see.
And I do love that they're able to maintain this high level of drama around karate school rivalry. When Kreese shows back up, that's really what I was on. I was just like, wow, this is like a real melodramatic thing to be doing over a dojo.
I think that's another reason the wife works well in the show. She's like one of the few characters in the show who just is standing back a bit and sees how ridiculous most of what's occurring in the show is. It's like she kind of grounds things a lot by giving an awareness of that. Because it's like if it was every character in the show totally buying into the craziness of it, it would be a bit much.
Yeah, that would definitely be the case. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, I think they can at least get a solid second season out of this. But I feel like they kind of have to. This season was successful because it just kind of did a lot of things you weren't expecting, and so they kind of have to do that again, I would think. And if they just give people what they want, I don't know. I feel like it's like everybody
that ruins it.
Yeah, it's like. The thing that I liked about this show is I felt like a lot of shows I feel like I'm being pandered to because of my age category or something, and this one was nostalgic, but I didn't feel pandered to for some reason. I don't know why. I think maybe because they were willing to do things with Johnny that didn't feel like pandering. And it's just I don't know. It just all kind of worked in the end somehow. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens next season. We got to wait a while. I can't imagine they will have a next season until, a year from now? Is that? Do we even have news on that?
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, I don't know what the date on it is. It's just coming, and Kreese is in it, as the spoilery headline told me. So.
But yeah, so. Anyways, we'll end it there, and I guess this is our last Cobra Kai episode, unless and until the next season comes out, and until then, we will talk to you later.